What would you do differently if you knew nobody was judging you? Would you speak up more? Start that project? Walk into a room without worrying about how you look? For many people, the answer is yes. The problem is not that they have nothing to say or nothing to offer. The problem is that fear speaks louder than they do. But here is the part most people get wrong. Confidence is not something you are simply born with. It is not a special personality trait that some people get and others miss. Confidence is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained. Think about someone who looks confident today. They may speak clearly, make decisions quickly, and handle pressure well. But they were not necessarily born that way. At some point, they had to do the same things that scared them. They had to speak while feeling nervous. They had to fail without giving up. They had to prove to themselves that they could handle discomfort. And that is exactly what we are going to uncover in this video. You will learn why confidence disappears, how small actions can rebuild it, and the simple daily habits that can turn self-doubt into self-trust. Because you do not need to become a completely different person. You just need to start giving yourself evidence that you can handle more than you think. Most people think confident people are simply born that way. They believe some people naturally speak without fear, walk into any room with ease, and never worry about what others think. But that belief can keep you stuck. Because if confidence is something you are born with, then you have no reason to work on it. You either have it or you do not. But confidence does not work that way. It behaves more like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. A shy person can become comfortable speaking. Someone who fears rejection can learn to handle it. Someone who always doubts themselves can slowly learn to trust their own decisions. How? By taking action before they feel ready. This is where most people make a mistake. They wait to feel confident before they act. But confidence usually comes after the action, not before it. Imagine someone who is afraid to speak in a meeting. They stay silent because they think, I need more confidence first. But if they keep waiting, nothing changes. The fear stays, the doubt stays, the silence becomes a habit. Now imagine they ask one simple question in the next meeting. Nothing terrible happens. Their brain receives new evidence. I spoke and I handled it. That small moment matters. Do it again, and the evidence becomes stronger. Soon, the person is not just hoping they can speak. They have proof that they can. And that is the real secret. Confidence grows when your actions give your brain a reason to trust you. Here is where confidence starts to change. Every time you do something difficult and survive it, your brain collects evidence. Imagine you are scared to speak in front of people. The first time, your heart races. Your voice may shake. You may even think about staying silent. But instead of avoiding it, you ask one question. That is a small win. The next time, you say a little more. Then you share your opinion. Each action sends the same message to your brain. I can handle this. Slowly, something changes. You stop depending on hope and start depending on experience. This creates a simple loop. Action creates evidence, evidence creates confidence, and confidence makes bigger actions possible. But there is a catch. If you keep avoiding uncomfortable situations, you create the opposite loop. Avoidance gives you temporary relief, but it also teaches your brain that the situation was dangerous. So the fear becomes stronger. That is why waiting for confidence can keep you trapped. You do not need a huge breakthrough. You need small wins that prove you can trust yourself. And once you understand that, building confidence becomes much simpler. One of the easiest ways to build confidence is to start keeping small promises to yourself. It sounds simple, but it can change how you see yourself. Think about what happens when you constantly say, I will do it tomorrow, and then never do it. Over time, you stop trusting your own words. That slowly damages confidence. Now, reverse it. Make one small promise each morning and keep it. Wake up when you said you would. Finish one task before checking your phone. Walk for 10 minutes. Send the message you have been avoiding. The action does not need to be impressive. It needs to be completed. Every time you keep your word, you create a small piece of evidence. You prove that you can depend on yourself. And those small pieces begin to add up. After a few days, you may notice something powerful. You start making decisions with less doubt. You stop needing other people to push you. You trust yourself a little more. That is real confidence. It does not come from telling yourself, I am amazing. It comes from showing yourself, I do what I say I will do. So, if you want to feel more confident, do not start by trying to become fearless. Start by keeping one small promise today. Because every promise you keep is a vote for the person you are becoming. The next step is to do one thing every day that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Not something extreme, just something you normally avoid. Maybe you avoid eye contact, so hold it for a few seconds longer. Maybe you stay quiet because you fear saying the wrong thing, so share your opinion once. Maybe you keep delaying an important message, so send it. These moments may feel small, but they train something important. They teach your brain that discomfort is not danger. You can feel nervous and still take action. You can feel awkward and still keep going. You can feel afraid and still make the choice. This is where confidence starts becoming real. Because confidence does not mean you never feel nervous. It means nervousness no longer makes your decisions for you. At first, these actions may feel uncomfortable. Then they become familiar. And what once felt scary starts feeling normal. That is why you should not wait for fear to disappear. Use small moments of discomfort as practice. Each time you face something instead of avoiding it, you become a little harder to stop. And that small change can eventually affect much bigger parts of your life. There is another habit that quietly destroys confidence: trying to impress everyone. When you constantly think, what will they think of me? You give other people control over your choices. You start changing how you speak, what you wear, what you say, and even what you believe. You become more focused on being accepted than being yourself. But here is the truth. Most people are not thinking about you as much as you imagine. They are busy thinking about their own problems, mistakes, and insecurities. That means the judgment you fear may not even be happening. So instead of asking, will they like me? Ask a better question. Do I respect the way I handled this? That simple shift changes where your attention goes. You stop performing for approval and start building self-respect. You can still care about other people. You can still listen to advice. But you no longer need everyone to approve of you before you trust yourself. And once you stop chasing approval, something interesting happens. You become more comfortable being seen as you really are. That freedom is a powerful part of confidence. Now you have the pieces, but there is one question left. How do you turn these ideas into real change? Start with a simple 7-day challenge. Do not try to become a completely different person in 1 week. Your goal is only to collect evidence that you can trust yourself. On day 1, keep one small promise you make to yourself. On day 2, start a conversation you would normally avoid. On day 3, share your honest opinion instead of staying silent. On day 4, do one task you have been putting off. On day 5, say no to something you do not really want to do. On day 6, spend some time doing something alone without worrying about how it looks. Then comes day 7. Repeat the action that felt hardest. By now, you may not feel fearless. That is not the point. The point is that you have 7 new pieces of evidence. You acted when you wanted to avoid. You spoke when you wanted to stay quiet. You kept promises when it would have been easier to quit. And every one of those moments tells your brain the same thing. I can handle difficult things. That is how small actions become real confidence. So, what does confidence really look like? It is not walking into a room without feeling nervous. It is walking in while feeling nervous and still taking your seat. It is not speaking without fear. It is speaking even when your voice shakes. It is not knowing that you will succeed. It is trusting yourself enough to try. Think back to the person we imagined at the beginning. They still have doubts. They still care what people think. But now, they have something they did not have before: evidence. They have proof that they can act when they feel afraid. And that proof changes everything. You do not need to wait for confidence to appear. Build it through small promises, small risks, and small victories. One action today, another tomorrow, then another. Over time, those actions become habits. Those habits become self-trust, and self-trust becomes confidence. So do not ask yourself, how can I become confident? Ask yourself, What is one small thing I can do today that proves I can trust myself? Then, do it. And if you are ready to start, write in the comments, I will take one small action today. Because confidence is not something you find, it is something you build.